On May 5, 1996, two teenage girls drove into the night toward an abandoned hotel in the mountains of Japan. They sent a message to their friends, "We are in Uozu." It would be the last anyone would hear from them for 24 years. When their car was finally pulled from the bottom of Fushiki Port in 2020, it raised more questions than it answered. 3 witnesses claimed they saw what happened that night, but they waited 18 years to come forward. And when they finally did, the police sat on that information for another 6 years. This is the story of Megumi Yashiki and Narumi Takumi, 2 friends whose test of courage, or Kimodameshi, became one of Japan's most haunting mysteries.
May 5th, 1996, the final day of Golden Week. For 19-year-old Megumi Yashiki and her classmate Narumi Takumi from Himi City in Toyama Prefecture, it seemed like the perfect night for a Kimodameshi. If you already watched our previous videos, we've covered this tradition before. Check our playlist for the full explanation. But this video marks our second true crime case, and this one is connected to these tests of courage. And if you enjoy this kind of content, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. Their destination was the Tsubono Spa Hotel in Uozu City, about 60 kilometers away. According to Shukan Joshi magazine, they'd actually visited twice before. Days earlier, they'd spoken with friends who had recently made the same trip. The Tsubono Hotel had quite the reputation. Built as a 6-floor mountain resort, it went bankrupt in 1982. The city council couldn't afford the 25 million yen demolition cost, so they barricaded it and left it standing. This transformed the hotel into a magnet for biker gangs, also known as bosozoku, and teenagers seeking thrills. Vandalized, windows smashed, fireworks set off inside. It became one of Japan's most notorious psychic spots. The girls prepared carefully. Narumi purchased a penlight and batteries for Megumi's flashlight after her shift at a local store. At 9 p.m., they climbed into Megumi's black Subaru Vivio and began their journey. This was 1996. No mobile phones, so they used the pager to message their families about the trip. Around 9:30 p.m., they stopped at Kiyomaru Park in Imizu City for 30 minutes, telling friends their plans. At 10 p.m., they were spotted at a gas station in Uozu, refueling. They seemed fine, perhaps excited. Then at 11 p.m., Narumi sent one final pager message. "We are in Uozu." 4 simple words. The last communication anyone would receive from Megumi Yashiki and Narumi Takumi. 2 days after the girls didn't return home, their families reported them missing on May 7th. Police searched the Tsubono Hotel thoroughly. They found nothing. No flashlight, no footprints, no evidence the girls had been there at all. The search expanded to surrounding cliff areas with helicopters. Still, nothing. Police theorized the girls had run away. But that didn't explain why neither they nor their distinctive black Subaru had been spotted anywhere. No credit card transactions, no sightings. They had vanished completely. 2 large-scale searches in June and October 1996 traced multiple routes between Himi City and the hotel. Nothing. The case went national. Theories flooded in. Some speculated about North Korean abduction, citing cases like Megumi Yokota, who was kidnapped from nearby Niigata in 1977, but the mountain location made this unlikely. Others pointed to Bosozoku involvement. Dark internet rumors claimed gang members had murdered the girls. But where was the evidence? Where was the car? As months became years, the case went cold. Megumi and Narumi became another unsolved mystery, part of the very folklore that had drawn them to the Tsubono Hotel. 24 years passed. On March 4th, 2020, at noon, a crane operated by Toyama Provincial Police lowered into the waters of Fushiki Port. About 35 people gathered as it began to lift. 8 meters below the surface, wrapped in blue sheets, a black Subaru Vivio emerged from the water. Inside were skeletal remains, 2 sets. Also inside, a credit card with the name Megumi Yashiki. DNA analysis confirmed it. After 24 years, Megumi and Narumi had been found. But here's what makes this deeply unsettling. The police knew where to look. In late 2014, 3 anonymous witnesses came forward. They claimed that on May 5, 1996, at 12:30 a.m., they saw a black Subaru with 2 female occupants parked at Kayomaru Park's edge, rear facing the water. As they approached the car to speak with the girls, the vehicle suddenly reversed and fell into the water. When asked why they waited, all 3 said the same thing. They were scared. Scared to be blamed. Scared of consequences. Police interviewed these witnesses in 2014, then again in January 2020. Only then did they act, conducting surveys with metal detectors and divers before scheduling the recovery. The question isn't just, what happened to Megumi and Narumi anymore? It's, why did the police wait 6 years to act? Let's examine the timeline. The girls sent their final message at 11 p.m. from Uozu. The drive from the Tsubono Hotel back to Kayomaru Park takes about an hour. If they reached the hotel, they could have returned by midnight, 30 minutes before witnesses claimed to have seen the car at 12:30 a.m. But critically, police found no evidence they were ever at the hotel. No footprints, no signs of entry, nothing. Perhaps they got cold feet after seeing that looming abandoned building and turned back. Maybe they reached the familiar territory of Kayomaru Park, where they'd stopped earlier, and felt safer there. Now the witness testimony. 3 unknown people claim they saw the car parked dangerously close to the cliff edge. As they approached the car, it suddenly reversed and fell into the water. Was it an accident? Did the girls panic when startled by approaching strangers and hit the wrong gear? Some theorize the witnesses tried to scare the girls as a prank. If their prank caused a fatal mistake, guilt would explain the 18-year silence. But there's a darker possibility. What if the witnesses were more involved? What if foul play occurred and the car was pushed to hide evidence? The problem, why come forward at all if guilty? Why confess after 18 years when the case was essentially forgotten? Here's what makes this worse. Because of decomposition, forensics couldn't determine cause of death. They couldn't confirm drowning or rule out other causes. A police representative told Shukan Joshi magazine, We know the car fell into the sea for some reason, but at this time, foul play is not suspected. When asked about further investigation, the chief's response offered little hope. We will investigate as needed in the future. Megumi's mother, 60 when her daughter was found, said, I had hoped she was living somewhere else. I feel sorry she existed in such a cold place for so long. For 24 years, she believed her daughter had simply run away. The discovery shattered that hope while providing painful closure. Megumi's father was blunt. I don't trust the witnesses at all. I don't know who they are. I've asked the police, but they won't tell me. Can you blame him? 3 people watched his daughter's car fall into the water and stayed silent for 18 years. Then police, who interviewed them, waited another 6 years. His daughter's body lay 8 meters down for nearly a quarter century.
The Tsubono Spa Hotel still stands today, overlooking Uozu City from its mountain perch. It remains a psychic spot, but now the scariest story connected to that building isn't about ghosts. It's about 2 19-year-old friends who wanted to test their courage on a spring night during Golden Week. It's about families who waited decades for answers. It's about witnesses who stayed silent for reasons we may never understand. And it's about a police response that left those families in limbo for years longer than necessary. Did Megumi and Narumi make it to the hotel? We'll probably never know. Did they accidentally reverse off a cliff in panic? That seems most likely. Were the 3 witnesses more involved than they claim? Without their identities or full statements, we can only speculate. The internet hasn't forgotten. Forums still debate theories. Some note grimly that 3 witnesses matches the number of gang members in those old rumors who supposedly lived in fear. Coincidence? That's the internet, finding patterns in tragedy. What we know is this: 2 young women lost their lives, and the mystery of how and why may remain forever unsolved. Thank you for watching. If you have any opinion about this case, or know any other Kimodameshi cases that went terribly wrong, feel free to share in the comments. See you in the next video.